Hello, everybody. We are back here with Brandon Flakezz, our new reality TV icon, maybe villain after last night's episode. We'll get into it. Philly influencer. I've known Brandon for a couple years now, since the OG days when we both were starting on TikTok. And now you're on a YouTube Barstool show, which is so exciting. So I cannot wait to dish on it. How are you? How has everything been?
Oh my God, I am good. So good to speak to you again. You are
Mhm.
always been so supportive. You were there in my OG days when I did like a little dating show on TikTok.
Yes.
So always love your content. We're both obsessed with reality TV.
Mhm.
But I am good. Yeah, last night's episode was a little crazy. Have a little anxiety today. But we're trekking away.
Yeah, I mean, I have to imagine that like the anxiety is like this is how it came off, this is how it looked. Like, are you like
Yeah.
excited? Are you excited to watch all the episodes, or are you kind of like
Yeah,
getting more
so I
anxious?
think that's the like anxiety part, and I don't think a lot of people like understand or know this. Like we as the cast members are seeing these episodes for the first time the same time that you guys are. So we don't get them set in advance. We have no clue like what they're going to show because we film for 13 hours a day, but they only can make 30 minutes out of that. So you are missing literally almost like 98% of what's actually happening. You're seeing like 2% of everything that goes down. So before the episodes, I'm always like, okay, here's what happened that day. Here's what they could show. Here's how they could paint it. And then I watch the episode. I'm like, oh my God, here's what they did show. Here's what they didn't show. That's crazy that that person said that. I didn't know that conversation happened, or I did not sound like that, or that person like is definitely getting a bad edit. So it's nuts. Like for me, I'm used to like controlling my own narrative because I put out content. So I'm always able to
Mhm.
like produce, edit in whatever way I see fit. But when you give, the hands of a reality TV show full reign, it's scary because they could paint you to be a villain, they could paint you to be a hero. They could not paint you at all and not even include you in the show. So it's nuts.
Yeah, like that one girl, she was there maybe like 3 minutes. Like I blinked and she was gone. I was like, was
Yes.
just going to the bathroom and now someone's already eliminated. But to set the scene, so obviously me and Brandon have been friends. So I was so excited when I found out you were going on the show. And I texted you, I was like, you have to come on my podcast to talk about it, but when do you want to do it? I was like, we could wait until the show's over, we could do it in the middle. And you said you wanted to do it after episode 3. So my mind is thinking the entire episode last night that you're going home. I'm like, he's going home.
Yeah.
So I literally thought you were going home, and now you're still in it and you're in the final 5, which is amazing. You
Yes.
obviously watch a lot of reality TV. You love reality TV.
Yeah.
Did you ever expect to make it this far?
So, yes and no. So, I watch competition reality TV. So, my
Mm-hmm.
favorite shows are Big Brother, Survivor, and The Challenge. I also
Mm-hmm.
really loved the show The Traitors that just came out on
Yes,
Peacock.
me too.
So I'm not as much of a fan of like The Bachelor and like Bravo shows because I like to see strategy. I like to see like I find decision making very entertaining. Like I like to see
Mm-hmm.
people think with their brain and like kind of make choices. And then I like to see drama that arises from those choices that the people make because you're forced to in this situation where you need to backstab people.
Mm-hmm.
So in that aspect, I did think I was going to make it far because I was like, I
You
think
know the
I've seen
game.
so many of these shows that I'm gonna know. But at the same time, that first day was so rough because I was like, this is gonna be really challenge based, and a lot of these challenges, like some are physical, some are like totally random. And I meant it when I was like, guys, I'm not a threat. You saw the challenges today. I suck at these.
Mm-hmm.
So I was like, if this is how it's going to be every day, I'm going to go home like pretty soon because what was really hard about that first day was if you kept losing a challenge, you didn't get your bed in the house. So you were like
Mm-hmm.
stuck downstairs. Whereas the people who were winning challenges got to go upstairs and start like socializing and playing the game. So like that whole first day was like a wash for me. Like I literally didn't get to have like any strategic conversations with anybody who was winning the challenges because like once they won, I didn't see them the rest of the day until it was time to vote.
Yeah, and for everyone who's just joining, we're talking about Project Verified on Barstool Sports. It's on the BFF's podcast, BFF's YouTube channel, so you guys could check it out. The first 4 episodes are out now since we're recording this podcast the day before the third, and there's 2 episodes next week, and we have no idea. I don't know how long Brandon's going to be in it. I'm obviously rooting for him. Of course, I feel like I see so much of myself in you where if I was on the show, I would be like, I know everything, I got this. But then it also is just like, wait, I know too much. Could this psych me out? And I feel like I can see you thinking while I'm watching the episodes because I'm like, I know where his brain is. He wants this. He wants to work hard. But you're playing strategy. You're like, I'm not good at challenges. But then what you just said is like, challenges are half of it. This isn't Survivor. This isn't Big Brother. These rules are made up. So like, what did you know going into it about the rules?
We didn't know anything. And Brie actually just talked about this on her podcast. So Brie posted on her TikTok, she's like, I'm hosting a reality show. We're looking for crazy unhinged content creators. So I was tagged a bunch of times, so I applied for it. And then I was invited to submit. So first you fill out an application. Then if you make it past round 1, you answer questions, but you answer them in a video format. So it will be like, say the question out loud, like, I think I'm going to be good on this show because, and then you have to answer it, and you do that all on video. So then if you made it past that round, that was the final interview where you interviewed with Brianna herself and 2 other producers on the show. And they were giving us no information. They were just like, there's going to be 10 of you. You're going to be living in a house for a week. And we want like big personalities. Like, why do you think you're going to be good on TV? So I was like, okay, a week is a pretty short time to film. Like, I don't really know where this is going, but I do feel like this might be like kind of a Jersey Shore type of situation where like we're going to be in this house creating content. I thought if it was a competition series, it was going to be like we were all going to start off with like our own blank TikTok account and like try to get followers during the week and post content. And then I thought I was like, oh, if they don't eliminate people, like you'll be canceled instead. Like you've been canceled and you go home. Like I like really thought it was going to be like very, very much so like into social media because that was what they were kind of advertising. They were like, we want content creators or people who want to be content creators.
So were you surprised you got picked? Because I'm wondering like, who knows who knows Brie, who has a relationship with Barstool? Like, how do you kind of get so lucky to get on the show?
So I wasn't sure like how they were going to cast it. I was like, they could get really, really big, like big TikTokers, big YouTubers, but also a lot of people, 5 days is short, but also if you're a busy content creator, like, and you have ads due that week and you have events coming up, like 5 days is a lot. Like that was the hardest part for me. I was like, holy shit, like if I last all 5 days, that's without my phone. Like that's crazy. I was like, they're either gonna get really big people or like a mix. And I feel like they did a good job of like getting some people who wanted to have a big platform and then people who had like 500,000 followers. Like Brad has 500,000 followers on TikTok.
And Aaliyah,
Lila
she has a
yeah,
lot.
Aaliyah is crazy. She has like almost 2 million, I think, on TikTok, 500,000 on Instagram. Lila is a YouTube queen. She's in Tana Mojo's friend group. Like, and then they had me, and I have like 450,000 followers on TikTok, 50 on Instagram. So I think they did a good job of casting people that like had a decent platform. And if you're really on TikTok, you probably knew the people. And then people who were kind of just like wanting to be on a reality show.
I think it was a good mix of
Yeah.
people. I mean, they kind of phrase it as like wannabe influencers, which I thought was a
Yeah.
little bit like, okay, like calm
Yeah,
down.
I think that was kind of more like kind of like to get like almost like clickbaity. Like these people
Yeah.
want to be influencers when it's like, okay, some of us like dead ass are full-time
Yeah.
influencers.
Like maybe you could say like micro influencers, like people who
Yeah.
have like built a following, but maybe haven't figured out how to take it to the next step. And like, this is honestly great for your career. You've been doing influencing for a couple years. Like, this is a way to get
Yeah.
more exposure and to add something to your resume. Did everyone get paid to be there, or was it just like only if you win the 25,000, if you could say?
Only if you win.
So did you really want the money? Like, you got to assume some people want it more than others or need
So
it more than
my thing is,
others.
and I think that you guys will see like on this show, my audience is seeing a very different side of me. So like you're used to seeing me being very chaotic, very like funny, easygoing, like energetic. And on the show, you're seeing this different, very strategic, analytical, more like focused side. Because what a lot of people don't know about me is I'm extremely competitive. So
Yes.
it wasn't like whether we were battling for $1,000 or $250,000. For me, I want the damn title. Like
Yeah.
I love games like these. I love watching them, and I've always wondered how I would do in a setting.
Hmm.
So I was just having fun, and I was like, you know what? Like, and I felt I put a lot of pressure on myself, which I think was good and bad. Like, I come from Philly, which is a huge sports city. Like, we like die for sports. We're very competitive, and I think that's where I get my competitive nature. And I was like, if I fucking get all the way out here and I go home in the driveway on day one, Philadelphia is going to like make a laughing stock out of me. Like I cannot
Hmm.
flop that hard.
Yeah, but so who did you know anyone before going in? Because I feel like you maybe have known Lila a little bit or Brad.
So the show was filmed in March.
Okay.
Um, in January, I was in LA just for a vacation, and I met Lila out one night, and we like went out together one night, but it wasn't like it was, I don't want to say it was surface level because like obviously I loved her. We followed each other, like whatever. But her and I didn't like talk after that. Like I live in Philly. I flew back to Philly. She lives in LA. I was like, oh, if I'm ever in LA again, like hope our paths cross. So they obviously didn't tell us that anybody, they were like, we can't tell you who's going to be on the show. We want it to be a genuine reaction when you see
Hmm.
everybody. So I'm like stalking the video that Brie posted, like telling
Oh, we were
people to
trying to
audition.
figure
Like
it out.
I'm like already plotting. And we were talking about this with the other cast members, and everybody was doing this. And I saw that a bunch of people tagged Lila. And I was like, I wonder if Lila's going to be on this. And sure enough, when she walked into the van when they were taking us to the mansion, I was like, oh my fucking God, Lila's on this. But it was weird because Lila is such a social butterfly that she makes friends with everybody so quickly. So she definitely had my back, but she also, like, her and Liz clicked so fast, so quick that I was like, I knew I wasn't Lila's number one. I was like, Liz is
Hmm.
definitely her number one for now. But I love Lila, but she's the only one I knew before the show. I recognized Aaliyah because she's such a TikTok sensation. I was like, I've definitely seen your crazy like outfits and your like
Hmm.
fun content. But I didn't know her personally. Brad is from like the same, like very similar hometown. Like we're pretty close by. And he goes to Penn State University, but I didn't know him. No. And everybody else I didn't know.
Okay, because I was wondering if like people maybe knew of each other, that could be an excuse to kind of have each other's back because loyalty is everything.
When we were standing in the driveway, so that was crazy. So it's like in the first 2 minutes, you see us vote off Alexi. That whole scene took like 2 hours. And that
Yeah.
it wasn't because it was 2 hours to make the decision. It was just that was the first time we were all on camera. So like I personally, that was the most uncomfortable I was the whole show because I was like, oh my God, this is like really scary. Like you see the 10 of us, but what you don't see on that other side is there's a
Hmm.
production and crew of like 80 people.
Yeah.
And I was like, I haven't watched reality TV this like so many years, but I never really thought about like, holy shit, all the cameras, the mics, and everything. So we were all just getting comfortable. We were adjusting mics. So obviously during that, like we were kind of like all like whispering to each other. And the two girls next to me were Liz and Blake, and both had told me that they followed me on TikTok. So I was like,
Mhm.
okay, they know who I am. Like I feel like I can trust these girls because hopefully they're
Yeah.
gonna want to work with me.
Yeah. If they follow you, hopefully that means they like you, right? And they have your
Yes,
back.
exactly.
But then it's like after, a day or two, you got to assume that game mode, kind of
Yeah.
kicks in and then everyone wants to fend for themselves. And this game is so
Yes.
interesting. And I really like it because I love, all the strategy shows just like you do. But I also love
Hmm.
like YouTube and like influencer culture. So I'm like loving how this combines both those worlds.
Yeah,
So what's been the
it's really
reaction?
good. So honestly, I think the reaction like from people has been pretty positive. They're like, wow, like we didn't expect this to be good, but it actually is. It's very fast paced, which I like. I personally would have liked a longer format because I've been growing up watching these shows. Like I would love if each episode was 45 minutes, if not even an hour.
Mhm.
Because when I tell you the cast delivered, like this show is not scripted. Like these cast members, they cast it perfectly. Like we were all playing the fucking game. People were lying through their teeth. Like people
Mhm.
were getting annoyed. Like if they wanted to, they could have made hour-long episodes easy. But I respected Bree's vision, which was she's like, no, I want this to be a fun YouTube show. Like I want it to be very fast-paced. Like we don't need all that extra shit. Like people have short attention spans. Let's get it going. So I do think like some people were a little confused last night because it was kind of like a stark difference between the first two episodes where the whole like episodes were kind of
The
just a
drama heated up.
challenge. And last night it was less challenge and more like it was all just talking. So I think
Mhm.
if you like that type of show, like for me and you who like strategizing and like drama, last night was a
Mhm.
good episode. For people who are more like, oh, I want to see you compete in challenges, like if you're a fan of MTV's The Challenge, you probably didn't love like last night's episode.
Gotcha. So what was it like working with Bree and Josh? Was this Bree's idea? Also, can we talk about how hot Josh is?
Josh is such a cutie. Um, so it was really fun because I have been following Brie on TikTok since I made TikTok.
Yeah.
Um,
Who
but I
hasn't?
never I've never met her, which I thought was kind of crazy because she's in New York and I go to New York all the time. But Brie is very like in her own like entity of influencers. Like she's very A-list. She doesn't go to like a lot of these events that you see other people go to. She doesn't do brand deals. She's totally contracted under Barstool. So I had never met her in person. And Josh, I obviously know because it's fucking Josh Richards. He has like
Yeah.
26 million followers on TikTok. I feel like he like created the app basically. Like he's such a
Yeah.
legend. So
Such a
it was
legend.
so cool to like just like be in their presence. And I think that also added the pressure because I was like, I don't want to go home day one. Like these, they're gonna think I'm a fucking joke if I like can't even last one day. So it was really cool to work with them. I think a lot of people have been asking me like, what are they like? What are they like? And even Brie mentioned this in her podcast, like they were not there to be our friends. Like they were
Mhm.
there to host the show and they took it very seriously in the sense which I respected. Like they weren't like chit-chatting with us off to the side. Like they wanted it to be very fair. So when like the filming wrapped up, they went home. Like they did not come until they needed to come in the morning. We didn't like get to like be besties with them by any means, but I really appreciated like how hard and devoted they were to the show. And what also people don't understand, I think the hardest part about hosting is like they have to like literally make sure that the show makes sense. Like they have to sometimes
Mhm.
repeat lines if they're like, okay, that wasn't clear, the audience isn't going to understand that. So a lot of times they had to like really, really focus and like shift gears if something crazy happened. So I really appreciated the amount of work and effort they put into it.
Yeah, they definitely did a great job. And I think it's important to have them here because they are such big names, as you mentioned, in the influencing space. And
Yeah,
this show has potential. Like it could
it
grow season
does.
two, season three. Imagine reunions and then an all-star season. We can have you back. Like there
Oh
definitely
my
is a
God.
lot of potential because we've seen like other YouTube shows like this. Was it like Keon and DC? They had like a show similar, but we need like a
Yeah, I've been
solid
seeing that.
one.
Yeah.
We need a solid one on YouTube because the
Yeah.
influencers love these shows too, you know?
Yeah. 1,000%. So before the show came, like before the show started filming, I didn't even know that Barstool did reality shows. So I looked up Barstool realities like shows on YouTube, and they have a show called Barstool versus America, and they have a show called the Barstool's Most Dangerous Reality Show, which is like a
Yeah.
fear factor type
I
of
saw
show.
part of that.
And those shows, I was like really impressed when I watched them. I was like, wow, like these are well produced, like they're well edited,
Mhm.
but they were all the cast members of those shows are Barstool employees. So
Mhm.
this was the first show that they did with an external cast outside of Barstool. And Bree said in her podcast that last minute the producers were like, we don't know if this is a good idea. Like we should just use Barstool people. And she was like, absolutely not. We need to use people outside of the show. Like we need to actually cast people. Like that's what I want. And I'm really glad that she fought for that because I just think it was like they needed to step out of their comfort zone a little bit and get other people involved. And like I think they did a great job in editing it and producing it. Like such a good job.
Oh yeah, I think it's going great. I'm excited to see how it ends because my prediction, obviously you can't say, I think that everyone's going to come back and then vote for the winner. I think that would make the most sense. So I have no idea who's gonna win. Like well, for a second, I thought it was gonna be one of the guys. Like I want to root for you, but then I'm also just like, I feel like if I feel like if you won, I maybe like just would have had a gut feeling. And then like Lila's obviously like the queen of the show, but then she's also such a target. Hot Liz like
Mhm.
had some momentum and then she just lost two allies. So now I'm thinking now my final prediction for now, I think Aaliyah is going to win. I think that makes logical sense. But then again, like I don't know. I'm on my toes, which I think is really fun and it's keeping me invested. Um
Yeah.
who do you
Yeah,
think is
I
going to
think
win?
so. I think the good thing, a lot of people were upset last night with who went home because they were very fun and likable. But the
Mhm.
edit, which was accurate, was that they were not really playing the game. They were kind of just in, I feel like, no offense to them, I feel like they thought they were in summer camp and they were like, oh, like we're just gonna like compete in challenges and win
Mhm.
immunity every day and just like flirt with the hot girls and coast to the end. And like that worked for them day one. Somehow it worked for them day two against my will. But like day three, like you had to like that day, you had to be able to strategize to some sort of capability if you wanted to survive.
Mm-hmm.
And with those two now gone, you're looking at a final five where all five people are playing the game. And that's what I love about how this is going because recently, like especially with the show Big Brother, I've been feeling like they cast a lot of people that don't play the game. It's always unanimous votes and people just like going with the flow, and you get usually left at the end with like four or five people where you like know who's going to win. Like one person is like clearly running the shots and the other people are their minions, where it's like this, like you see me and Aaliyah at the end of this episode be like, it's an even playing field
Mm-hmm.
now. And
Yeah.
that truly was how it was after this episode. Like so many people now, half the house is gone. Everybody has lost an ally in some sort, and everybody's had to make a tough decision. Now it's an equal playing field, and everybody is going to go into this episode like really trying to come out on top.
Mm-hmm. For sure. And I mean, I can't wait to see what happens. What did you think about your fight with Brad? I felt like you were a little harsh on him, and I was kind of wondering because I just know you as such a sweet guy. Like, obviously, you're sassy, but it just felt like you snapped at him. So, what was that about?
Yeah, so obviously, as I said earlier, and I actually just posted a TikTok about this, we film for 13 hours
Yeah.
and they show 30 minutes of it. So, of course, when that situation happened, when I finally snap, they're going to show that.
Versus
But
the
they didn't
buildup.
really show a lot of what was happening towards the build-up. And one thing I do love about Brad is he will admit when he's wrong. And you hear him say back to me, and I'm like, you tend to talk over people. And he's like, my dad tells me that all the time. Brad is a very big personality. He's great TV. But he's very aggressive. He speaks very loudly. He speaks very frequently.
Mm-hmm.
And as a viewer, it's fun to watch because he's reality TV gold. But as someone who is living with him for now 36 hours straight, we were in the house for 3 days at that point. I was getting like, I was really losing it. And
Mm-hmm.
there was a lot that hasn't been shown. But I will say that that instance where he starts talking over me in that moment was not the first time that he had done that. It was to the point where other cast members had like poked me and been like, why does he like particularly like always talk over you? Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I think that was me kind of shedding that sweetness that you and a lot of people see. And I'm like, I'm done. I'm not going to like let somebody to continue to, I like 10 years ago, I would have continued to take this, but like, no, I came here to fucking play a game. I also felt like I was going home and I was like, you see Aaliyah be like, that was so stupid of Brandon. But I was like, I didn't know it was a double elimination. So I was like, it's either me or Brad going home today. I was like, and if I'm left with Brad, I think I'm going to stay. Had I known that it was going to be two people, I definitely probably wouldn't have blown up like that. But I was
Mm-hmm.
like, I don't need Brad's vote. He's going to vote me off no matter what. And if I'm going to go home, I'm going to fucking go out with a bang and I'm going to speak up for myself. So tempers were flaring and a lot of buildup was behind that. But yeah, I definitely lost my cool. But at the same time, I'm like, this is a fucking TV show. Like, a
You
lot of
got to
these
do
people
it.
are like, they're playing camp counselor. I'm like, no, like fucking speak your minds. Like, I'm not fake. I never have been. And like, that was my strength and weakness. I couldn't tell a lie. So it's like you could trust me, but also like my weakness was like I had a big mouth. Like I really was
Mm-hmm.
always going to open up about it. So definitely lost my cool. I don't regret it because, like looking back on it, it was super funny, but I know a lot of people were like, holy shit, like that was a lot.
Well, that's what I honestly I was like, damn. But I understand, like you gotta. I also thought like it's time to amp things up, right? Everyone gotta.
Yeah, and
This is the time for the drama, and like you were standing up for
and that
yourself.
was it too. Yeah, and like he was the first person that like went into the snack room closet while we were all separated. And you see when he comes back to talk to me and Aaliyah, I'm like, okay, so like what did you think about like while you were in that room? Like, have you made it up your mind? And he's like, oh, I didn't think about anything. And that's where I got frustrated from a competition standpoint because I was like, you're not playing the game. And there were so
Mhm.
many people that applied for this show that would love a chance at the money, would love a chance to be on a reality show, like would love the chance to compete. And you're sitting here and you're not really doing anything but kind of just
Mhm.
yelling. And I was just like, I'm so mad for anybody who wants to be on the show that like you're not living up to your full potential. Like you say that you're a competitor, then compete.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, he's gone now, and we're down to the final five. Take me, um, take me back to this moment because I do want to chat about a few other things. I
Yeah.
feel like Lila is just the queen of the show. Like, how did she's so likable? Like, do you remember being in the moment? Obviously, you were friendly with her. Like, do you not realize that like she is your biggest threat?
So here's the thing, and this is what is the hard part about being in a show. If you identify that somebody is a threat, you can't just go out and be like, we have to get rid of that person because then everyone's going to be like, wait, we like her and you're after her. Then we're going to go after you.
Yeah.
So you have to plant seeds. And you kind of see me in these past episodes starting to do that with Liz, where I'm like, guys, I'm on to Liz. Like, she is really playing this game. She's not
Hmm.
just a hot blonde. She's very smart. She knows what she's doing.
Yeah.
Um, and at that point, I knew Lila was super, super social and super, super friendly and that everyone liked her. But I didn't know. I just felt like Lila had my back, and I'm glad that they kind of showed last night. Everyone was kind of grilling Lila. They were like, "Okay, if it's Connor and Flakes, who are you voting out?" She's like, "Connor." They're like, "If it's Brad and Flakes, who are you voting out?" She's like, "Brad." I knew Lila had my back to a certain
Hmm.
extent. Obviously, no one's gonna have your back 100% because it's a reality show, and you're gonna have to backstab somebody eventually. But I, at this point, was not ready to like make a move against Lila because one, I would put a target on my back because just everybody else likes her. And
Hmm.
two, I felt that Lila genuinely had my back, whereas I felt like there was other people in the house that were like gonna plot and get me out sooner than later.
Yeah, that's fair. Well, we'll have to see what happens next
Yes,
week on the final two episodes. I'm
I
so
know.
invested. I cannot wait to see what happens. Can you give us a little tease what we can expect on the final week and how this is going to kind of wrap
Yeah,
up?
so there's three more episodes. The one that airs on Thursday, the fourth episode, it's going to be, I think, the funnest episode for the viewers to watch
Okay.
because it really is going to come down to how far the people who are left, are willing to go to win. I can't say really anything beyond that,
Yeah.
but tomorrow, or if this podcast is coming out on Thursday, tonight's episode is going to be really, really fun for the audience. For those of you who like challenges, you're going to really like this one because it's a very entertaining challenge that is like all parts, like just like high stakes, very
Hmm.
strategic, very fun. And it's going to be really juicy. And I think a lot of people are going to have different opinions after they see the episode and be like, wow, that was crazy. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of plot twists. I can't really say anything
Yeah,
more
don't say
without
anymore. Don't say anymore.
yeah, but it's gonna be really good. Like, I think with this show, like each episode is kind of getting better and better, and you're like getting more familiar with the people on the show. And now that there's less people too, it's like easier to really see like everyone's who's left. Like you're gonna see like all the facets of their personality. So I really think you're gonna like tonight's episode.
Okay, cool. Well, cannot wait to tune in. I mean, this is obviously such an amazing opportunity for you to grow your influencing career. And like you've been doing so well. I feel like the past year, 2 years, like you just keep grinding and keep going up. And what I love about you is you're just so authentic, but you're also just so funny. Like I watch your
Thank you.
videos and I just crack up laughing like every time. What is kind of like your plan, your goal? Are you just taking things like 1 year at a time, a month at a time?
Yeah, I definitely am taking things step by step. This was I've always wanted to be on reality TV.
Hmm.
They even told me part of the reason I was cast was because I have in my bio, and I've had this in my
Yeah.
bio since I started TikTok. In my head, I'm a reality TV star.
Hmm.
So it's so funny. I always wanted to be on like Big Brother or Survivor. And I always was like, damn, the only way I'm going to get cast these days is if I have a social media platform following. So that's kind of the reason I started making TikTok. I was like, maybe I can become like a big time influencer and then I'll get cast for like The Circle or Big Brother or
Uh-huh.
something. But then I fell in love with content so much that I was like, wow, I actually love being a content creator. I love being an influencer. Like, this is such a dream job. So the fact that I got to now cross this off my bucket list and do a reality show, it was so rewarding in that sense. And that's why I was like really fighting so hard every day to be there because it really was like a dream come true that I was not taking for granted. I was like, this opportunity does not come every day. I don't know if I'll ever get this chance again. Like, I need to fucking play my heart out and try to at
Hmm.
least make an impression and hopefully win the game.
Hmm.
So I'm just going to continue to do my thing though, just continue to grow, hopefully on TikTok. I've been really growing my Instagram recently. I just went on a brand trip, which was really exciting. Hopefully more of those to come in the future. But I'm just very grateful and blessed. And I'm just, I think the fun thing about my platform is it's really my niche, I say is gay chaos, but like my niche and my content is all around me. So as I'm
Mhm.
growing as a person, like I think that that's translating in my content.
Yeah.
So when I first started, I was 24 years old and you saw like only drunk party content on my page. And now you still get a little bit of that, obviously, but now I have a boyfriend and I
Hmm.
make a lot more content about advice and I go on these walks and take these short, like punchy videos.
And you
And
rank your friends.
yeah, I rank my friends. I'm doing pyramid videos. Like I'm always changing, and I think that that's what you need to do as a creator. You need to constantly be kind of, moving the wheel on what you're doing. You can't just continue to put out the same and same content because people are going to get bored.
Yeah.
Um, so just continue to grow as a person. Hopefully that translates into growing as a content creator.
Yeah, I think you're doing a great job. You're doing all the right things. And I mean, I definitely get inspiration from you. And I hope that other creators do as well, because you're just doing it. And you really crack me up. Like I laugh at my phone when I watch you. Before we
Oh,
go, I do want to talk about Sammi Sweetheart because I know you're a big Sammi fan.
yes.
You met her, she gave you great advice. She's coming
Yes.
back to the Jersey Shore. We just saw the trailer last week. She's coming
Hmm.
in with Angelina and she
Which is
is ready
nuts.
to confront Snooki J. Wow. They've been talking about her for a while. What was your first reaction to hearing she's coming back and your first reaction to the trailer?
I was shocked when I heard she
Mm-hmm.
came was coming back because I saw her, we met in December and she was not talking shit on the show,
Yeah.
was not saying anything bad about her cast members. She's always, and that's why I love Sammy, she's always been super classy.
Yeah.
She's never, ever, ever, like she really is the sweetest bitch you'll ever
Uh-huh.
meet. But she did not show any inkling of that, like she wanted to go back on the show. Like she seemed very content with how her life played out. So when I heard that she was going back on, like I was shocked. I was like, wow,
Mm-hmm.
I really thought that that chapter of her life was over. But I was really excited because I feel like there is so much of the story that hasn't been told because she hasn't been
Mm-hmm.
on the show.
And they've been talking about
And
her. They had a
yeah,
fake
and
doll.
I yeah, exactly. And I felt like it was the situation where it was like you could tell that she kind of lived rent free in some of their heads, where
Mm-hmm.
she kind of was like paying them no attention and was just moving on and living her life. But I am glad that she's coming back in an authentic way and just being like, hey, like, you guys have been talking a lot of shit. Like, let's clear the air here because,
Uh-huh.
I'm ready to tell my side of the story. And I'm gonna be honest, I haven't watched Family Vacation or Family Reunion.
Yeah.
I don't think I've watched it since it aired. I think I watched the first episode. I was like, oh, this is kind of silly.
But you're gonna watch it
I'm
now.
definitely going to watch it now.
You
So
have
I think
to.
she's coming back at the right time. I'm really curious to see how it all plans out.
Yeah, so
The
basically
trailer
the trailer.
was
Tell me your thoughts.
crazy.
Mm-hmm.
It just seemed like a lot of yelling and crying.
Yeah.
I don't know how they're definitely editing it now that I've been on a show. Like I can like
Yeah.
see this so much clearer. I'm like, okay, they're definitely
Mm-hmm.
editing it to look really, really dramatic. But are they all crying because Sammy's there, or is it edited to look like it's all happening because of Sammy?
Yeah.
I don't, and I don't know if anybody knows this, like, are Ron and Sammy going to be filming together?
Well, that's the big
Because they were
question. That
both in the trailer, but they were in
hmm
separate parts. And part of me is like, okay, if there was a scene where they're in the same room, they would have to show that in the trailer, right?
yeah.
But so that makes me think I'm like, maybe they weren't filming together because, like, obviously, if they were, we would have shown that in the trailer. But who knows? Maybe they're going to surprise us.
Yeah. Well, I have some inside scoop I'll share and then I'll get your thoughts. So
Oh my God, spill
they
the tea.
just filmed this with Sammy like a few weeks ago, like a month or
Yeah,
so ago. So it's really recent.
yeah.
So the season 6A just finished. That's when they dropped
Okay.
the trailer on the finale. So 6B will probably come out, let's say in the fall. So I know that Sammy filmed a decent amount and I know that she went to Florida and I know that Ron was also in Florida. And I also know that Sammy
Mhm.
is pretty much open to filming with Ron from my sources, straight from the source, not from Sammy, but from someone else.
Wow.
So I don't know for a fact if they're gonna film together, but I do think I would bet 65% that they will film at least a scene together, maybe in a group scene. I'm not sure. What do you think that would look like?
Sammy is in a very happy relationship right now.
Yeah.
And I think she's had a lot of time because she took so much time off the show. I think she's had a lot of time to heal. And I think that was really smart for her to not immediately sign up to do the show and give herself a few years. And she even said that in her opening statement when the show first came out. She's like, I'm protecting myself from doing a situation that's going to be potentially toxic. And I loved
Mm,
that for her because I was like, good for you to turn down a huge opportunity, probably a lot of money,
yeah.
to protect your mental and emotional health. And that's why I
Hmm.
fucking love her. She's such a queen.
Yeah.
So I think if she's coming back now, she definitely has a sense of heal, like that she's like healed from all of the past turmoil and tragedy and all of like, people growing up and watching her and judging a relationship when they were just kids, in like a crazy high intense
Hmm.
situation. So I think if they film again, her and Ronnie, I think that hopefully it's going to be mature
Healing.
and she's going to be like, hey, it's been a while, good to see you, hope you're doing well. I don't think they're going to be besties by any means. Like I said, I don't think they're getting back together. She seems very happy
Yeah.
in her new relationship. But I think it's going to be mature. Is he sober now?
We hope so. We really don't
Yeah.
know what's going
So I
on.
think, a lot of the situations that happened, obviously, between them, there was alcohol involved, crazy, high tensions, high emotions, So I think hopefully between her healing and him now, hopefully also healing from his, all the turmoil he's dealt with in his personal life. And,
Hmm.
hopefully they can just be like, hug it out and be like, you know what? Good
Yeah.
to see you. Um,
Hope all is well.
Hopefully
We want
there's
to see
no more
that.
drama. Yeah, we at this point we've seen them fight enough.
Yeah.
We got the first 6 years of Jersey Shore
Hmm.
was living on the storyline of their toxic relationship.
Yeah.
So I personally don't need to see that anymore. I would rather
Yeah.
see them both in a happy place, be happy for each other, and like be mature about the whole situation. And I think that's what's gonna happen.
I think it'll be great closure for the Jersey Shore fans who've been
Yes,
invested
closure.
to see them just kind of hug it out. When you went into Project Verified, who were a few reality stars that you not maybe tried to emulate, but gained inspiration from, or who were like your top three favorites? Like, who were you like, I want to make them
Yeah,
proud?
so are you a Survivor fan?
Yeah.
Because my strategy was very Sandra Diaz Twine, who was a
Mm,
two-time winner of Survivor. And her strategy was very simple. It was anybody but me.
yeah.
And that was how I was kind of playing the game. I was like, as long as you aren't voting me off, I don't give a fuck who you're voting off.
Okay.
Anybody but me. So I definitely played a little bit of that. And then I also like was always super, super like into Parvati, and I loved how she was like
Hmm.
really about getting the girls together and voting off the guys. And I was like, I want to work with the girls. I want to get these fucking macho heterosexual men out the fucking here. That's why I was like so happy last night when I was like, yes, we got two of them out. Like I wanted to work with Aaliyah, Lila, Liz. I was like, I
Yeah.
want a girls group
Hot
like
Liz.
yeah, I wanted to really like make, it's a Barstool show. I think everyone's expecting a bro to win. I was like, let's get a girl or a gay to win. Like, let's switch
Hmm.
this up. So definitely wanted like that girl power moment that Parvati kind of had. And then like the strategy, the two survivor queens, Parvati and Sandra. But
Not
then,
Russell.
I might have had a little Russell in me because
Uh-huh.
I was a little villainous at times. I wanted to I was really excited to go in the diary room and like just like talk my shit.
Oh
I wanted to be
yeah.
really funny. So from that, I was definitely channeling like people from Big Brother who I just felt like always went in there and spoke their mind and delivered like really funny one-liners and just like had people
That's
cracking
got to
up.
be the favorite part. The best part of the show, I feel like, would be in the diary
It's
room.
so, yeah. And I'm like so upset because, like, for better and for worse, they haven't showed a lot of the things I said in there. And sometimes I'm like, it's probably good that they didn't show what I actually said about that. But let me tell y'all, like, the people who were in the casting or the confessional booth, they were cracking up at the shit that I was saying. They were
Yeah.
like, holy fuck, like, they were like wheezing at some of the stuff I was saying.
Hmm.
So I kind of wish they showed like a little more of my funny side. I definitely think they're showing a little bit, but I'm like, they're also making me look like a fucking bitch.
Yeah. Well, do you think there's any like hard feelings with anyone from the cast, or do you think everyone kind of gets it? It's the assignment.
I think we're all good.
Yeah.
We knew that it was a game that we're playing. It's not personal. I think there's definitely after you see the last, few episodes, I think there might be some questions, but
Yeah.
overall, I feel like the cast is in a good place. No one's heard from Alexi, the girl that we voted off in the driveway.
She didn't want
So
to
she
be
probably,
there.
yeah. So, but with the exception of her, the nine of us, besides her, I would say we are a happy group. We shared that experience together
Hmm.
and we're trauma bonded. We
Yeah.
went through the 13 hours of filming. We went through not knowing what was going to happen next. So we have an experience now that whether we fought during the experience or friends during the experience, we all have a shared moment that only we're all going to know about for the rest of our lives. Like only we will truly know what happened while we were filming that show. And it's special.
I love that. Well, everyone, make sure to tune into the final episodes of Project Verified on the BFF's YouTube channel. I cannot wait to see how it all goes down. And everyone, make sure to follow Bran Flakezz on Instagram and TikTok. Bran, give your handle and what can we expect from you next other than this show?
Yes. So my handle on TikTok is Bran_Flakes with two Z's. Same thing on Instagram, just with one underscore, Bran_Flakes with two Z's. What you can expect next, I'm going to have a crazy summer. I'm always my
Okay.
best self in the summer.
Yeah.
So I have a shore house for the second half of the summer. So you'll be seeing me a lot at the Jersey Shore, causing some chaos.
Okay. Go to the house and film some
Yeah,
TikToks. It's like
literally.
$10. Did you know that it's $10 to get in?
Oh, really? Okay. Well, maybe
Mm-hmm.
I'll have to do that. But yeah, I will definitely be feral summer party brand will be back this summer. You know, I've definitely been focused on my career and everything these past few months. But when the summer comes out, so does crazy me. So you'll be back to seeing my crazy shenanigans this summer. And hopefully, maybe who knows, maybe a podcast coming your way soon.
Oh, okay. Well, we'll definitely have to stay tuned. Thank you so much for coming on and chatting with me.
Of course. Thank
Everybody
you for
go
having
check
me.
out, oh, of course, go check out Bran. This has been so much fun to catch up as well. And be sure to rate and review this podcast 5 stars. And if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe. And we will see you guys later. Bye.
Bye.